It is a story of a Chinese family in South Africa in the early 20th century. Despite her brother's skepticism, Gertie could not bear the suffering of the tiny being because it reminded her of the secret of the forbidden forest. Deliberately, she and Andrew had explored the woods that fringed the eastern edges of the village in order to discover why they had been placed out of bounds. Further and further, they delved under the green canopy, and it grew colder and darker. As they approached a small clearing, they heard a cat meowling. The familiar sound cheered them. They missed Carl, their large tabby in Johannesburg. Andrew stepped forward and then stopped. There was no cat. This was a graveyard for babies. Gertie pushed past her brother and then looked around in bewilderment. A few of the little bundles were still alive, making feeble movements and whimpering. Father had said that in China, girl babies were sometimes left to die, as were infants who were born with some defect or became ill. That was the way of things. Girls and frailties could not be supported because the people were too poor. Crying softly, Gertie reached for the sack of water Andrew had slung over his shoulder. Going up to one of the babies, she poured some water into the palm of her hand and then wet its parched lips with a few drops. Carefully, she put more water into the mouth and then moved on to another infant who was near death. Most of the abandoned figures were dead, those who had lain exposed longest being mere bones, while others were in varying states of decomposition. The stench was awful, and Andrew, who had said not a word, had backed away into the forest. When Gertie had done her rounds, she wondered briefly if it would be a great sin to baptize the babies. She had no sanction to perform such an act, and so it would have no power, she decided. Instead, she prayed silently for each of the forms, dead and almost so, and then left the spot. On the way back, she and Andrew remained silent. It was curious, she felt, that her father loved her so when she was a mere girl.